Watch this.
He survived ethnic cleansing, a refugee camp, and started over in Idaho. Now ICE wants to deport him to a place that doesn't even recognize him as a citizen. You might not expect a full-blown international festival inside an elementary school cafeteria, but at Taft Elementary, they've made it an annual tradition, and it's growing every year. They're big, they're aggressive, and they don't belong here. Why invasive walleye are raising red flags in Idaho's most remote river canyon. A husband, a father, and longtime Twin Falls resident is sitting in an ICE detention center hundreds of miles away from the life he spent years building in the state of Idaho. He ran his own business, he raised his kids here, and became a part of the community, but now faces deportation to a country that does not even recognize him as a citizen. Born in Bhutan, raised in a refugee camp, and brought to Idaho through a United States resettlement program, he's now considered stateless, and the system that once gave him a new start has left him and his family in limbo, waiting for answers that may never come. Brenda Rodriguez brings us the story.
He's a father, he's active in the church, he's reformed himself, he's done everything possible to do better.
Binod Shah, a husband, father, and longtime Idaho resident, is far from home. He's being held at the Northwest ICE Processing Center in Tacoma, Washington.
Without him here, the kids are still, they try to be really strong.
This isn't a typical deportation case.
His country of birth is Bhutan, but they don't recognize him as a citizen of that country.
This means he's facing deportation, but no country will accept him.
The year that he was born, the Kingdom of Bhutan made a law saying that him and many other people of Nepali ethnicity like him were not actually citizens of Bhutan. This was like a campaign of ethnic cleansing.
In the late 80s, Bhutan, located in South Asia, stripped nearly 1/6 of their population of their citizenship, making them stateless.
100,000 people were either left or removed and settled in refugee camps in Nepal.
At the age of 20, Binod's family moved from the resettlement camp to Twin Falls, Idaho, as a part of a U.S. refugee program.
He became a green card holder. He was a permanent resident.
Over the years, Binod built a successful life with his own mechanic shop and growing family. Now his future is on the verge of collapse.
People say that we're very needed in the community there. I would have to close that down.
Binod lost his green card after a criminal conviction in 2019.
Got convicted of aggravated battery, for which he was given a suspended sentence, so no time.
Does his criminal record play a part in where he is today?
So yeah, his criminal conviction is the reason that he was ordered deported. The state of Idaho doesn't think he's a danger to the community. That's why they let him out. Him and his family are willing to accept the consequences here. The problem is that we don't know what those consequences are.
Under growing pressure from the Trump administration's deportation policies, Binod was told by his ICE officer in March to report for removal.
It was very heavy. It was very difficult. We had our baby son with us. He's playing with him, and he just started crying.
And he's not alone. Many other Bhutanese U.S. refugees have also been deported, despite being stateless. Exactly how many remains unclear.
The community of Bhutanese out of Harrisburg, PA, that were picked up around the same week were sent there. They were picked up by the Kingdom of Bhutan and its government, like from the moment they stepped off the plane, put into cars, driven to the border with India, and kicked out of Bhutan.
Binod has had 2 deportation dates set. Both have come and gone without action, with no new dates set.
I believe that's why they haven't removed Binod yet, is because they aren't supposed to be removing people to countries that won't actually accept them.
How is he doing right now?
He is trying to keep his spirits up. He feels like garbage, like every country I've ever been in has thrown me away. He's like, it's never enough. It's never enough for me to just live my life peaceably, which is all he wants.
For now, Binod waits in limbo, his family holding on to hope and calling for compassion before it's too late.
Are they preparing for a life without him, or is there still hope?
We're really, really hoping. We're really hoping that there's something that that can be done. Though the laws need to be strict, we have to understand the human condition. and we have to have compassion for people.
So again, there is no set date for deportation process there, but he does own a successful business that is at risk of closing down anytime soon. So she is asking for donations. She has a GoFundMe page. We'll have that listed on our website.
And we understand that, he'd lost his green card because of the criminal conviction, but is there a pathway for citizenship for refugees like him that had resettled in the United States?
Yeah. So usually, and this is coming from the lawyer that we spoke to today, usually after refugees have been here for a year, they can apply to get their green card, and then citizenship after that. A couple years after that, they'll be eligible to do so. Yeah.
I'm also curious too. We talked about all these countries that he's lived in or was born in. They say we don't want to take him. Is that holding up the process in the sense that they don't know where to deport him to?
Yeah, I mean, this is just assumption coming from this family and coming from the lawyer, especially with this being a national story, and we're seeing it across the country right now. But that's our assumption. We don't have access to talk to ICE.
Yeah.
There is no answers coming from them. So their assumption is these dates have come and gone. We don't know where this person's going to be or going to end up at, rather.
Do they know where he is right now?
He's at the Tacoma Detention Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Brenda Rodriguez following the story. We'll see if we get updates. Appreciate your time, Brenda. Well, for nearly a decade, Taft Elementary School in Boise has celebrated the diverse cultures of the students that fill their hallways. The school's annual cultural festival draws hundreds of community members all together, honoring diversity in their school and the Boise community. Aspen Shumpert takes us to that special celebration.
The sounds and sights of dozens of cultures coming together at Taft Elementary School in Boise.
It is just a joy to have all of our families come together and celebrate the amazing diversity we have.
Principal Tim Lowe says 13 different languages echo through the school's hallways each day.
We all need somebody to lean on.
And our kids come from literally all over the world, particularly the Middle East and Central Africa.
Nearly half of Taft students, about 44%, are multilingual.
And this is our chance to spotlight and celebrate just the beautiful diversity we have at our school.
The school's Culture Festival is a night hundreds look forward to each year, says Jenny Hurst, the community schools coordinator at Taft.
When you see our students and our families coming together, sharing meals, sharing food that's special to them, we realize that in this place, it's like the whole world comes together on this evening.
A celebration, Hurst says, is filled with different food, art, and entertainment representing nearly 40 different nations.
It's unlike anything you'll experience.
All made possible through the collaboration of families and local community groups.
I like the dancing, food, everything. Kurdistan is like an area where you can all spend time with other people and respect and just have a nice feast and just show what your religion can do.
The event draws both longtime attendees like Jessica, a mom in the district.
Supporting different cultures, different races, different walks of life. It's what brings us all together as human beings, and it's an incredible experience to be able to participate in this every year.
And first-timers like Basil.
I'm really happy that we respect the cultures from around the world.
Boise Mayor Lauren McLean says the festival showcases Boise's vibrant diversity.
It's really fun to see kids from all over the country that now call Boise home here celebrating their heritage and sharing their history with their friends, family, and neighbors at Taft School.
Towards the end of the night, a parade of nations takes place. Hurt says it's one of her favorite parts of the event.
All of our students who come to us from countries all over the world carry their flag as we all just witness this beautiful, beautiful community.
As flags wave and traditions blend, this celebration extends beyond a school event, sending a message that resonates clearly.
No one's alone, and that we all belong here.
Taft's Elementary Culture Festival continues to grow each year. School officials say they're looking at how they can incorporate even more cultural performances and interactive activities for years to come for attendees as the years go on. And if you're watching this thinking that is you that wants to jump in on this cultural experience, you can reach out to the staff over at Taft Elementary.
And I've had the privilege of visiting Taft Elementary School over the years, and it's one of these things where it is a different student body than you'll see in other schools.
Nearly half all multilingual.
And it shows like the diversity of the area, and you also, I mean, it's a unique experience for all students, no matter what background they came from. The truth of the matter is, if you're in a diverse area, you're going to have more diverse opinions and exposure to different cultures. And if you like that, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right, Aspen Shumpert reporting here on a Friday. We love that one. We're going to take a break, but we'll be right back. Walleye may be a catch worth bragging about, but in Idaho's Snake River, they're threatening more than just the balance of nature. Ahead, we have a closer look at the fish that's not welcome here. If you want to join the conversation, send us a text. We always love to take a look at your comments, questions, concerns, really anything. Try to keep it clean. And our number, send it right here, 208-321-5614. Please include your name so we know who it's from, and hashtag the 208 so we know it's for us. We'll get to some of these live at the end of the show. Out in the remote stretches of Hell's Canyon, where cliffs tower and the Snake River carves through some of Idaho's wildest country, a quiet battle is brewing beneath the surface. And it's not just fish versus fishermen. It's one fish against an entire ecosystem. We're talking about walleye, prized in places like Minnesota. But they're showing up here in Idaho more and more. In Idaho, that's where salmon is king. This isn't a good thing. Biologists say that these toothy predators, the walleye, are threatening already struggling salmon runs. And now, conservation officers are racing against the clock, trying to trap, track, and stop an invasion that apparently started decades ago, hundreds of miles away. Here's Jennifer Hoff.
In a remote place is a river gorge running more than 100 miles long. Lined with towering cliffs, Hell's Canyon is a natural wonder. John McLean knows all too well.
Coming up.
The Idaho Department of Fish and Game Conservation officer has long patrolled these parts, especially popular for fishing.
I checked a 25-inch walleye that a guy had. When he was holding it up, I thought it must have been a catfish because it was so big.
Walleyes so big they would make any Minnesota angler envious. Except that favorite fish is anything but here.
I think they're big toothy predators.
Marika Dobos is a state biologist and says walleye aren't bad, they're just wrong for Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's not the whitefish, but salmon that reigns supreme.
We have spring and summer Chinook, we have fall Chinook, we have coho, so it's busy.
Salmon have significant recreational, cultural, and economic importance, bringing in $1 billion every year. but the species is being threatened, and it's people like Dobos and McLean protecting them, particularly on the Snake River that runs straight through that stunning canyon. Eventually dumping into the Pacific Ocean, it's the same path the salmon follow to spawn. Some say is getting tougher due to rising water temperatures, declining habitat, and dams.
When you have those anomalies that we can't control, you're taking a small population that's already depressed, and then you're just adding more factors to it that's further affecting them in a negative way.
What's more, that walleye is making things worse as they keep migrating further downriver. Anglers catching some in Lewiston, an old gold mining town and gateway to Hell's Canyon, and even more at Lower Granite Dam, some 60 miles away, where Dobos is trapping the fish to track their activity.
Up until 2016, we haven't caught any walleye at the trap. From 2016, we've seen nothing but this exponential increase in walleye.
A fish never meant here in the first place was illegally introduced in Oregon some 70 years ago. The invasive species, now turned apex predator, has a penchant for none other than salmon.
They're sitting in places where there's a lot of food available. These are areas where these juvenile fish are rearing. They're trying to just get by and survive the winter and get big enough so they can migrate out. And that's part of why we reach out to the angling community, is to get that support from people, to get the help from anglers and the buy-in that these are bad things, so we're going to go out there and we're going to do our part to remove them.
Now it's essentially open season here on walleye.
Yeah.
Through here.
You can fish for them anywhere.
Well, this is our mainly our walleye section.
Anytime, and John Snazza is here to help.
We've expanded a lot in the last two and a half years, just because walleye's gotten so popular.
A former guide turned salesman, he's long fished for walleye.
Walleye have very good eyes.
Bagging some big ones.
Probably 30 inches.
And pointers along the way. He's now passing on to new customers.
This is a walleye rig.
Equally enthralled by the thrill of the catch and its mouth-watering taste.
You hook this on like this.
So much business is booming and shows no signs of stopping to catch a fish that, unlike Minnesota,
it's really quite a business.
Has no limits.
Below Lower Granite this year, I caught over 100 walleye.
Except hoping to harvest them all can feel futile.
Walleye are mysterious to me right now.
Especially for the folks caught now in this complicated relationship between Minnesota's most revered fish and the other it's putting at risk, whose value is as vast as this landscape they both now live in.
The fact that we have people reporting walleye caught here when there's so few people up here is pretty mind-boggling, and that's the struggle.
Besides trying to outfish walleye, Fish and Game is proposing to allow spearfishing and is asking anglers not to release any they catch. We're going to take a break here on the 208 on a Friday. We'll be right back. major news making headlines on a Friday. A fire burned down a mobile home in eastern Idaho last night. Meanwhile, Bureau of Land Management's wildfire prevention order kicks in tomorrow. Abby Davis has the 411 from around the 208.
A fire broke out last night in a burn pit at the Mashad Creek area of Fort Hall Reservation in eastern Idaho. Fire officials say the fire started in the burn pit and spread to 2 nearby mobile homes, one of which completely burned down. The fire also burned about 5 acres of nearby fields before being contained. Fort Hall Fire EMS says no one was hurt, but 2 firefighters did experience heat exhaustion. The Bureau of Land Management signed its annual fire prevention order to help stop human-caused fires this summer. The order starts tomorrow. It bans fireworks, exploding targets, and shooting certain types of ammunition on BLM lands through October. BLM says breaking these rules could result in hefty fines and costs for putting out any fires. Their message this year is simple: create memories, not disasters. Boise State University's president is saying goodbye. Dr. Marlene Tromp sent out a farewell message to students and staff. She said in the statement, quote, "What an inspiring, complex, challenging, and joyful journey it has been leading Boise State University. As I look forward to the days ahead, I continue to recall the many achievements and special moments we have shared as a university community." Tromp has served as BSU's president since 2019. She'll head to the East Coast next to serve as the president of the University of Vermont. Heads up, you can help fight hunger without even leaving your house this weekend. Tomorrow, May 10th, just leave a bag of non-perishable food by your mailbox for the Stamp Out Hunger food drive. Your mail carrier will pick it up and deliver it to the Idaho Food Bank. It's the nation's largest one-day food drive, and the food stays local. For a list of the most needed items, head to idahofoodbank.org. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Davis.
Well, this afternoon was the warmest one we've seen so far for 2025. This is where we landed for our highest temperatures of the day. Boise hit 87 degrees, Nampa hit 90, Mountain Home 88, Magic Valley reached the low to mid 80s. Twin Falls did break their record today. Their previous record was 84 degrees. Their new record is now 85 degrees. Mountains reached into the 70s. Even Haley hit 75 degrees today. There is some changes on the way this weekend, so we have a system that's approaching the Pacific coast right now. It could impact us as soon as tomorrow, even though it's not going to be directly overhead quite yet. We could see that going into tomorrow afternoon, some showers could start to develop in the Magic Valley. Treasure Valley looks pretty clear. There could be a few showers that pop up in the overnight hours from Saturday into Sunday, but then Sunday for Mother's Day, the Treasure Valley is looking pretty good at that point. Magic Valley could start to see some showers and possibly thunderstorms on Mother's Day afternoon. Wind gusts tomorrow will be a little breezy, 15 to 20 mile per hour wind gusts for the duration of the day. Those chances for storms are looking more likely in higher elevations for tomorrow, but don't completely rule it out of the question. We're looking at a high of 90 degrees in Boise tomorrow. 84 is the high for Mother's Day. Then we will cool down going into the next week.
All right, comments to end the week. Let's see what you had to say. This person writes, that man from Twin Falls getting picked up by ICE is wrong on many levels. He made a mistake over 5 years ago. And the state of Idaho felt like he isn't a danger to the people here. He hasn't done anything else wrong since. So this feels like the federal government is trampling on Idaho state's rights to trust in its own inhabitants and its own judgment. Brenda Rodriguez, great reporting on that story. We will follow it to see what happens there. Some other comments here on a Friday to get to. Let's see what we got here. I know there was a lot of comments about the walleye. And the school. Watching your show about the school, have school putting on this culture thing every year. I think our legislature can learn a lot from these students. That's from Bob. Bob, thanks for the comment. Okay, now to the walleye. Ken writes, my grandson caught a walleye in the Snake River in Washington. It was huge, gave a fair fight. Turns out Washington has a $5 bounty. I'm also told that walleye tastes delicious. So maybe catch one and have a good dinner? Let us know.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.